All right, we official, man.
Yes, sir. It's the
Yeah,
vibes, my
yeah.
brother. I appreciate you for having me on your platform today, first and foremost.
Oh man, no problem, man. I appreciate you coming through, showing love, man, and chopping it up with me.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, while you get situated, man, go ahead and tell your background, your story, and where you from, and you know, uh, how we connected. You know what I mean, and so
Okay.
forth and
Well,
so
shit,
on.
giving the whole story, shit, that'd be the whole damn show, you know what I'm saying? So I could just go ahead and give it a
Generally
little bit.
speaking, generally
You
speaking.
know, but I am Big Chief, not the little one, G the Starflower, melanated god of love. I
Mhm.
resigned in Baltimore, Maryland, the east coast of Turtle Island. I have a podcast. I Can't Make This Shit Up podcast where I use my voice to push out those messages towards our people,
Mhm.
But of course, we both know if we're not doing or delivering any ignorant shit out here, people not really going to pay attention, and that's crazy as well. But I think we locked in one of the groups, if I'm not mistaken. That's where we met in one of the groups on Facebook. I
Yeah, and I
believe.
think we was dealing with a troll.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we was
That's how
dealing
the
with a troll. We had to get in there and sock him up a little bit.
yeah. That happens, but that's how we linked up or whatever the case may be. And once you told me you had your thing going with the podcast, I'm like, bro, shit. If there's any way I could contribute to that. And
I appreciate it, man.
I
For
believe,
sure.
hey, I see you got the hang of this now. This whole stream yard or whatever. I like it. I actually like doing it through StreamYard better than actually going live on YouTube. You ever
Hmm.
been live on YouTube?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
I like this better. I'm not gonna lie. I
mhm.
like this better. But
Yeah, definitely. Cause that feed on YouTube, you doing it directly through YouTube, man. It don't come out right.
it
Um,
don't. It don't.
like your tools ain't really set up, as user friendly as StreamYard. So yeah, man. By the way,
Mhm.
everybody, you got to blame Big Chief for giving me the right link to StreamYard. You know what I mean? Now
Word.
they can't keep me off the internet because of the Chief, man. So that
Hey,
if
that
y'all
ain't a
upset
bad
about it,
thing.
y'all
That's a
gotta.
good thing. Well, guess what? Since you want to put the blame on me, when my brother blows up, right, and he be one of these internet sensational motherfuckers and shit out here, y'all can blame me for that too. Okay,
That's
let's
love.
do that.
That's
Yeah,
love. Yeah,
no,
I'm
it's all
definitely gonna
love.
I'm definitely gonna keep reminding them too, man, because
Word.
I kept running into the wrong link, and you know what I mean. It was just more difficult than what it really was supposed to be, man. And then you came
Mhm.
through with the right link. I'm like, oh yeah, man. That was like Christmas for me. So yeah,
Word.
it's been on ever since, man.
Yes, sir. I already knew. Once I came across this, bro, I recommend StreamYard to anybody that I know who do content or have their
Hmm.
own podcasts or radio shows or whatever that's in the beginning stages anyway. I recommend this. Like I'm a real brother. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not one of those what they call them like gatekeepers, people who have information but won't give it to their peoples or whatever the case may be. I'm not one of those, bro. If it's something that I know worked for me, and I know you're as passionate as I am about what you're pushing out here, man, I'm gonna give you that for free. What I don't get
Hmm.
is our people that be charged. Oh my god, bro, that shit irritates me, bro. What, bro? Our people be out here charging for information, bro, and they say they love you. They'll
Hmm.
say they love. So that to me, bro, that's equivalent to you knowing, okay, the world about to end tomorrow, everybody's gonna die
Hmm.
unless they say two words out of their mouths, they can live. You're the only person in this world that knows those two words. You want
Hmm.
to charge your people for those two words so they can live? You get what I'm saying, bro? Like,
Yeah.
so that's how I look. That's how I look at it, bro. These brothers and these sisters that have information that can help our people, that can change their lives, help them from that. No more suffering. Y'all ain't got to go through this rent shit, this gas and electric shit, like the water supply, all of that. It's people that know exactly how to cut all of that out, but won't tell you. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, bro. Man.
Yeah, that's real crazy, man. But I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems like it's always been those amongst us who kind of help keep us down along the way. You know what I mean? Like it's not just been, the so-called white man. It's been people who see opportunities to collaborate with the, so-called white man as a better opportunity than, uplifting their own. You know what I mean? And it's a sad situation when you think about it, you know what I mean? Frustrating too at the same time, but this has been a consistent part of Black history, just like anything else, you know what I mean? On all levels. Whether you're talking about, indigenous ancestry, whether you're talking about civil rights movement and everything like that. It just seems like that's just been a story, for us throughout, you know what I mean? And it's sad, man, because the things that we could have achieved had we stuck to the code, you know what I mean? We probably would have been. Matter of fact, I don't know what if you read up on this and what's your stance on it, but I was reading that with the Yamasee War, the Yamasee War, the Yamasee had pretty much beat the Europeans to submission, and they were about to KO them, but the Cherokee kept up business relationships with them, and if it wasn't for the Cherokee, they would have never been able to return the strength to be able to even deal with the Yamasee. So once the Cherokee continued to ally with them, that's what brought them back to forces, because they was on the brink of getting pushed out of the United States, or what we know today as the United States.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I heard sprinkles and stories through others. You know what I'm saying, bro? So even with that, so if we speaking about our Cherokees or the pretendian Cherokees, so we're
that's a
talking
good
about
question, man. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because when we speaking about the natives and things like that, mind you, I ain't even gonna say we fighting for that anymore, because at this point, everybody already know what it is. We know who the real Indians are. You know what I'm saying? But we still have those pretendians out here too. So when we speaking on our people, far as that story, or as we speaking on them, because we speaking on them, it makes sense. It makes sense if we speaking on them and shit, and. It's crazy, bro. Like, I grew up with a lot of them. I guess we call them Siberians, or whatever. That's who they really are, right? No, real shit though, bro. No disrespect to y'all. Like, I really grew up with them. Like, I'm talking about their mother, my mother, grandmother, my like all people's is. Like if we grew up in the same neighborhood, my mom be your mom. Your mom, my mom. Like I couldn't. That type of love. It was that with them. You know what I'm saying? So when I first, and it's crazy, bro, because when I was really coming hard with the, spreading the knowledge that who we truly are and shit, right? And he came to me, my bro, this is my best friend. He came to me, he said, bro, it's crazy, because I used to tell y'all that when we was kids, and y'all just never used to listen to me.
So this is one of the what we call the Siberian types that you grew up with that was telling you, like, look, I've been telling you this the whole time. Y'all wasn't listening to me. That's interesting. Interesting.
And this is another funny thing, bro. You know how we say they the Siberians, the Chinese. We used to always crack jokes on him when we was little, like, bro, why your eyes always look Chinese? You Chinese. We didn't know. We were just cracking jokes. We kids, bro. But back then, we used to say that type of shit. Like, man, he look like Chinese motherfuckers and shit. In the eyes, anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's fact. But, Now, us knowing what we know, you know, it all makes sense. But yeah,
Perfect sense. Perfect
yeah,
sense.
perfect sense, man. But I was saying something to you earlier, bro, about two topics that came to my mentals this morning. About habits. You know, I pay attention to the programmed world just as much as I pay attention to the spiritual world. I tap in with both because I got to receive information from both sides. I need to know what's going on so I can
Mm-hmm.
make my own decisions of what's what. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because life is based off of your experiences of life, bro. Like, we can get into that too. But anyway, the habits. I hear people speaking about people having habits, especially when it's drug habits or whatever the case may be. Even me smoking marijuana, somebody would consider that to be a habit. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fucked up because I smoke marijuana. He has a habit. But you go out and buy the new iPhone every time it come out with no question. You don't give a fuck if you really got it or not. You're going to go out and get that new upgrade of that fucking
Mm-hmm.
iPhone and shit.
Right.
So, you know, that's an habit. When you go out and you buy those new Jordans that come out every time they drop, and you standing in that long ass line, not even Jordans, just any shoe that's
Mm-hmm.
dropping, and you standing in that long, that's a habit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's other things that's considered a habit outside of just drugs or alcohol. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is the people that be trying to point the fingers at everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all gotta fix yourselves first. Position yourself to be able to say something about someone else. Because ain't nobody out this motherfucker perfect, bro. Ain't no such thing as perfect, bro. It's nobody that has the rights to sit and speak about nobody. Nobody. Nobody
And
has the right to
even if you might, you know, be there to at that point today, that's just today. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you could live 80 years on this planet, man, more. You know what I mean? A lot of my elders are, you know, in, you know, either mid to late 90s. You know what I mean? Right now, and they still, you know, kicking pretty strong. You know what I mean? So, you know, life. I mean, you could be in that space today, but it's about, you know, can you maintain that throughout the course of life? You know what I mean? Because that's the real true, you know, manifestation of wisdom. You know what I mean? We can get up one day, we can feel excited, we can feel enlightened one day, and we might look like we shining. But as life goes on, man, you're gonna deal with different things, man, and that's when you're gonna really find out, is it really true? You know what I mean? So yeah,
I mean, that comes with what we put in our bodies as well. And that's why I kind of changed my eating habits and stuff too, bro. I eat a lot of plant-based shit now, a lot of fruits and vegetables and things like that. I mean, I've been eating them all my life, but you know, now it's like that's just my diet for now. You know, not even saying for now. That's just what it's gonna be, period. Because at the end of the day, bro, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that the foods that they're distributing out of these markets and shit ain't the same no more, bro. I know that you know it's stuff that you've eaten since you were a kid that you would eat right now that don't taste the same anymore, bro.
Nah,
like I'm talking about candy, chips, everything, bro. Stuff that we've been eating all our lives don't even taste the same no more.
Nope.
So that should let y'all know something.
Nope.
You know,
don't taste the same at all, man.
At all. But so it's like what you put in your body, you know, that causes the effects.
It's crazy too, man, because you know, we look to be around the you know, from the sounds of it too, we probably around the same age. But you remember when we was kids, man, it seemed like also the food, because it was real, or at least closer to being real food than what it is you know, today. You just remember how fast we used to burn that crap off, man. And it wasn't just because we was young and we had high metabolism. You know, that's what a lot of people try to blame it on. You know what I mean? But it's not just that, because overall, like, obesity, diabetes, it's increased. You know what I mean? Not just for the so-called black community, but everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody is weighing a lot more, on average than what we used to, man. Whether it's in our childhood or whether it's in our adult years, everybody is weighing more than what they used to. And man, a lot of that is attributed to that processed food, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like, man, I remember a time, bro, whatever you got finished eating, the first thing a motherfucker might do is run to the goddamn bathroom. Like, I was just telling my daughters that the other day, like, it's crazy, because at one point in time in life, man, I'm always in the bathroom getting that shit up out of me. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, well, I can't say right now, but, when I was eating the bullshit, it's like, damn, I wasn't even going to the bathroom like I was supposed to. Like usually you go to the bathroom right after you get finished eating, at least 10, 15 minutes after you get finished eating, you ready to go get that shit up out you. You feel me? Like, we don't even do that no more, bro. No. Like,
yeah. And if it's staying up in you, that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? It's gonna lead to other complications. You know what I mean? And it's like they trying to make it to the point where it's just they trying to make it difficult to grow your own natural food. You know what I mean? They even trying to control it all the way down to the seed.
Man, what? I just said something to the guy in the market the other day, bro. I swear the other day I was at the market and I was looking for some grapes, and all the grapes said seedless grapes. So I said something to the guy that worked in there. I said, bro, that's all y'all serving is seedless grapes up in here right now? He started laughing like, man, I'm not going to lie. We had the grapes with the seeds in there, man, but they wasn't there long. They didn't last long. I said, I bet they didn't. I bet they didn't last long. So this motherfucker saying they had grapes with the seeds, they grabbing them. You know what I'm saying? Anything with seeds, but, watermelon is, man, I save mine, bro. Come to now that we're speaking about it. Hold up. And these from probably 3 years ago and shit. I think these my honeydew melon seeds. Oh, these might be my papaya. Papaya or the honeydew melons. I got watermelon, bro.
Okay.
I got honeydew melon. These are seeds that I just saved from fruits and stuff that I had ate. These ones, and then I got ones that I brought as well. I got herbs, basil, lettuce, dill, onions, bro. See, I'm on my laptop, so I can't carry it outside so I can show you, bro. I got my flower pots out back of my house and everything, bro. Nice. I got plants in my window, bro. Like, I'm not playing, man. I'm not playing at all out here, bro.
And it's something spiritual about growing your own stuff, man.
It is. Right.
And just watching something grow. For real. Man, I don't really care what it is either.
And you'll treat it like it's your child, man. I swear. Like, I treat my plants like they my babies and shit, man. Like, I gotta feed them, make sure they get their little sun, they sitting in the window correctly, all that. But yeah.
Because like just naturally, man, you don't want to watch nothing die
at all.
It don't matter what form of life it is. It's like if it lived at one point, you don't want to see it die, especially because you didn't take care of it. You know what I mean? So it's just the experience. It's just to me, it's like spiritual healing almost to watch something grow from seed to to fruit. Yeah, man.
Just to watch the process of seeing that grow, it's definitely a good feeling, and on the spiritual level, for sure. Yeah. But I've watched it even as a child. I'm pretty sure you have as well. I'm 44, bro. Like you said, we probably around the same age. 43. I'm 44.
Yeah.
43. Okay. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you've experienced the same things that I've experienced, as far as having big mamas and being in big mama household. And it was always plants and stuff like that around,
sure.
So,
speaking of what we're speaking of, man, like when I was a kid, And you know, now it's like the total reverse. I'll be over my great grandmother's house. That was the first person to or anybody to, you know, show me how to plant something. You know, our trees are still standing now. You know what I mean? And I could ride by. We sold that house that, you know, that we planted the, you know, those trees in, but I could still ride by and see them trees still standing. Man, I think we probably planted at least 2 of them. You know what I mean? They huge. You know what I mean? And I could just remember, just bring back memories. Like, yeah, we planted that. But what I was gonna say too, man, is for one, you know, that's who, you know, first got me interested in any type of gardening or planting like that, because I just I was never the type of, in our generation, you could probably relate to this too. We just hated staying inside. So anybody that was doing outside, it didn't matter. You know what I mean?
What?
If my great grandmother said, "Hey, I'm about to do this, you want to cut?" Yes. What do you mean? Yeah, I want to go outside. But what I was also gonna say is, they were so old school with their diets, man. They didn't know nothing about no potato chips. You know what I mean? They ain't know nothing about none of that greasy snack food. They ain't had none of that. And I'd be like, man, y'all ain't got none of the junk snacks, man. And like my great grandmother used to be like, nah, we ain't got none of it around here. You can get this this grilled cheese toast and these grapes and you know,
It's always some fruit, man. Always some type of fruit, right? Listen, bro. I was talking about that on my podcast too, man. It was a privilege for me and my sister to be able to get some sort of cereal with sugar in it. And that wasn't all. That might be once every 6 months to a year that we'll get some cereal with sugar in it. You know, other than that, we eating Raisin Bran, cornflakes with bananas chopped up in it or strawberries. That's how my grandmother used to feed us or whatever. Raisin Bran, cornflakes, and Wheaties. Yeah. They are the 3 cereals that I remember as a kid at my grandmother's house. They didn't play that sugar shit. You know what I'm saying? Too many sweets and all that, unless it was natural grown fruits or whatever the case may be. Other than that shit they selling in the stores, hell no. They kept us away from that.
I remember my grandfather, which was actually my step grandfather, but I didn't know it for a long time because he pretty much raised me. You know what I mean? That was my first coach in sports. You know, he pretty much taught me everything I know about baseball. You know, he started me when I was probably like 4 years old, maybe 5, something like that, somewhere in that age. You know what I mean? And but I just remember, like, he was so stern about them sugary drinks, man. And he'd be like, man, that's enough of them sugary drinks. But here's the thing, man. Like, kids can be so addicted to it, man. I used to throw like temper tantrums or, you know, like fits because I felt like he was trying to take me away from the sugary drink. And you know, he was old school, so he wasn't having none of that tantrum type stuff. You know what I mean? Get your act together, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's how, and that's the reason why, you know, parents got to be careful feeding their kids that, you know what I mean, the processed sugars, man, because it is addictive, man. You know what I mean? And it'll cause them to be in a state of mind where they were like, give me the sugar, man. That's how I was. It's like, give me the sugar. I was having like, you know, like a what you call it when you know, if you addicted to something and you weaning off, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, withdrawals.
I was having withdrawals. Like, man, give me the central, give me the sugar, man.
Right. You ain't lying about that, bro. Even listen, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Cause like I said, ain't no such thing as perfect in this world, man. So I'd be a lying, man, if I was to sit here and tell you that I don't still be dibbling dabbling in the goddamn sweets and shit. Listen, that's why my shit fucked up now. Listen, long live my granny, right? My big mama. She told me, bro, I swear I had a mouthful of golds. Like I had a mouthful of nothing but gold teeth, right? And I still remember my grandmother's voice telling me, boy, you better take that stuff out your mouth, gonna mess your teeth up. I remember it. Bro, I was at the beach. I never told this story. I was at the beach. Me and my homeboys one weekend, bro. We out at the beach, Gunpowder Beach, and what's that? Exes Maryland, I believe. We out Gunpowder Beach anyway. You know, I'm under the water, I'm swimming, bro. I swear it felt like a hand literally went in my mouth and was like bro, I can't make this shit up. That's the name of my podcast. I swear on everything I love, bro. It was like a hand went in my mouth, bro, and pulled them shits out of my mouth, right?
What?
And mind you, you at the beach. You know, bro, if you looking under, if you open your eyes under in the beach water, you can't see shit. Because by the time I'm saying the water dirty as fuck. You can't see shit in the water. So I'm in there, I'm trying to find them, I'm swimming, I'm digging. Them shits was gone, bro. I was so hurt. And I had them for that was my second pair because I had 2 pair of fronts. Those ones I had for at least 11 years, maybe 11, 12 years and shit. But yeah, I felt like that was my grandmother. You know, I swear I do, bro, because she had already transitioned at this time. And I felt like that was her that snatched the motherfuckers out of my mouth and shit, you know. Yeah, and that's what started me fucking up my shit. But, you know, she told me, she definitely gave me that warning, you know.
Yeah,
it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how long you been doing your podcast?
Well, this podcast, the I Can't Make This Shit Up podcast, I've been doing for 3 years now. But my first radio show, I started in 2011. I think I was telling you that before and shit. That's when I was a part of the battle rap culture. You know, I was definitely deep into the battle rap culture. So,
okay.
Yeah, very deep, bro. My first radio show was Dot Mod Radio. You know, and that was in 2011. And then I went from there, bro. And it's crazy because I started it's crazy, really, really, really crazy, bro. How I even got into this, you know, even where I'm at today with it. Like, bro, I was just really helping one of my bros out who had a podcast who was in the battle rap culture, you know, and he used to be trying to get certain battlers on his platform. Me being a part of I'm still a part of that. I can't say what I was a part of. That shit is in my skin. It's a Dot Mod. Y'all know who Murder Mook is, T-Rex, them, they my brothers. You know what I'm saying? So me being a part of that and connected to them, I was connected to every goddamn battle rapper. It wasn't a battle rapper. And the crazy thing is, bro, I'm not a battle rapper. I didn't rap at that time. None of that. Didn't do no type of music. I was just one of those guys that was, you know, genuine and show love and support and all of that. Same shit I do now, I was doing that. I was just entertaining a different world at that time. But anyway, I was somebody that was able to get different battle rappers as guests on the platform for him. And that's how I started, bro. Just doing that for bro. Then he asked me, did I want to come on and start co-hosting with him? I'm like, oh, okay. And that was that. Next thing you know, I started my own damn show and went from there.
Nice.
Bro.
Nice.
It was a journey. It was a journey,
man. And now you said you had a couple topics that you wanted to highlight and focus on.
Yes, sir. Well, I think I kind of was getting into the habits one. You know, I kind of landed a little bit on that one and shit. And then the other topic was what did I say that was, bro? Hold up. Kind of lost track of that. I do that a lot. A whole lot.
Yeah, we did kind of start on the habits one. We was
the habit. The power within our words, right? I was talking to my sister earlier, right? And I don't know if you ever felt this type of way when people say this or not, but I do. When people say we with everything, we this, we that, we. I'm like, bro, what do you mean we? Ain't no we nothing, bro. That's you. Because if you're speaking and your feelings are based off of your experiences of things that you're going through, stop saying we, please. Like, you know, bro, man. Like it's deep because I don't want to get too deep into it because then people may feel like that I'm directing it directly towards them, and I'm not. It's just based off of many different experiences that I go through with many different people throughout my days, bro. And the conversations that I always be that way. You know, when they're speaking on something, especially when it's negative, bro. And it's always we. No, bro, stop speaking that we shit into my life. That's you. Speak that shit into your life. Don't speak it into mine. Because our words are very fucking powerful, bro. And you can speak things into existence. You can also think things into existence. So you can speak that way and think that way about your life. Please don't do it with me. You know, because I got to speak against it. You know, and then that's when, you know, situations may start because people may feel as though you're attacking them or you, whatever. People have crazy thoughts in their head. But I have to, bro. That's like right now, right? If you were to be like, man, Big Chief, tomorrow, man, we might die. I'm be like, bro, shit, you might die. You know, like I have to counterattack it, bro. Because if I don't, like, I'm so deep within my spirituality, bro. I know how powerful our words is, and you really can be speaking that into me and your life. You know what I'm saying? So I have to counterattack that. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. You know?
No, you all the way correct, man. And even when I'm dealing with my closest family members, I'll be like, you know, like, listen, you know, it's a certain way you got to talk to your you know your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you say it in a certain type of way to make sure they know it's not you know anything negative towards them. Right. And I'm trying to think of an example of something somebody would say, you know what I mean, without being too extreme. But I mean, but it's pretty much like you said, we gonna die. You like, hold on a second now. Like, nah, you know what I mean? We not dying, you not dying. Nah, right. Definitely ain't dying. Like we ain't gonna talk like that. No, sir. You know what I mean? Like it might be something smaller that they might say, but it doesn't have to be extreme. You know what I mean? It could just be a minute.
Right.
You know? No,
it's just anything negative with me, bro. Like I got a brother, like I will stop talking to him because every time we're conversating, he always got something negative to say towards everything positive that I'm pushing. Like, bro, who want to have a conversation when everything that you're saying is negative? Everything that I'm saying is positive, but you have a negative to every positive that I'm delivering out here. I don't want to conversate with you. If you can't throw positive energy back to my positive energy that I'm throwing to you, it's enough for us to conversate about, bro. I don't speak negative shit. I don't do it, bro, because I know what come behind that. I know what come behind that. You know, you will receive that. If that's the energy that you're putting out, you will receive that. And I'm speaking based off of experiences. I put a lot of negative energy out this motherfucker, bro. And I received that shit. So now it's nothing but love, nothing but positive energy with me, unless you change that. Because I do have both sides. I have embraced both sides. I created a balance, bro. You know, so if a nigga asks for that, yeah, you could definitely get that. You know what I'm saying?
It's a difference between being ready for war and just being, you know what I mean, just a violent person. You know what I mean? Right. You gotta be capable. I mean, because we just don't live in that world, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a difference between being capable or ready versus you just some type of a-hole just going around just assaulting innocent people or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a clear difference. You know what I mean? And I don't knock any man being prepared to defend himself. You know what I mean? And however he got to do it at whatever level, because I mean like I said, that's just the world we live in. You know what I mean? I didn't see we both grew up in the same era. So in our era, it didn't matter if you wanted it or not. You know what I mean? You could be minding your business, man, but you still gonna have to defend yourself.
Yeah, surely. Depending on the environment that you're living in, you know, that's just it just come with it. I mean, it's sad because it shouldn't be that way. at the end of the day, but that's all a part of the programming, bro. I
Mm-hmm.
was just telling my sister earlier today about like the cities. I consider all cities as cages, right? And that's because the reason why I say that is because it's somewhere where you can have everyone in one place at one time and be able to control them. Same with the projects, right? And all
Mm-hmm.
projects is a bunch of who? Melanated people in
Mm-hmm.
one place at one time where they can control everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, once you get outside of them cities, you see a whole new world. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and a lot of our brothers and sisters that grew up in the cities never seen or don't know what that country life experience is. Like
Yeah.
me going fishing, bro, the stuff that I be doing and posting on my pages and shit. You know,
Yeah.
brothers in my neighborhood, bro, they probably looking at me as a goofy.
Mm-hmm.
They probably looking at me as a goofy, bro, because I go out here and I go fishing and I go crabbing and I'm around the water and I'm out here meditating and doing grounding and stuff like that. They look at that as weird. Why? Because I'm doing something outside of the programming.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is programmed to think a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is programmed to act a certain type of way. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're speaking and acting outside of the programming, you're considered to be weird. You're crazy. I'm big crazy. Super duper fucking weird. Strap me the fuck up. Because if that's saying that, hey bro, listen, if that's validating the fact that I'm different, I accept. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be the same. You know, and
Yeah.
that's all
Right.
that is, bro. A person is only going to call you crazy, brother. They're only going to call you weird if you're doing something outside of the normal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only time you're ever going to get those labels. If you're doing
Mm-hmm.
something outside of the normal. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants you to be the same. That's a
Mm-hmm.
program. You robots, like, what the fuck? It's
I used to
crazy.
get it real bad when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was a kid, man. I used to be into a lot of stuff that wasn't really, guess you could say, like status quo for the environment. You know what I mean? Like, my guys, all they knew was, gangster rap music. But,
Mm-hmm.
I was interested in other type of music, still am. You know what I mean? Like, I listen to some classical music. I listen to anything, you know what I mean? As long as it's good music. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a shame that a lot of our people is just like, I just gotta be this here. This is us. You know what I mean? And this is what defines us. And anybody out, trying to experiment outside that box, y'all not us. Y'all, like you said, y'all weirdos, y'all this, y'all that. You know what I mean? And a lot of it, man, a lot of it is imagery. You know what I mean? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, bro. Keep landing. I just
Okay,
got.
yeah. I I found out very early, at a very early age, it also depends upon how much influence that person has. You know what I mean? Like, I remember somebody called, was knocking me because I was wearing a turtleneck. And I'm like, and I know this person was into,
Turtlenecks.
yeah. I mean, you can make a turtleneck. It's so many different types of turtleneck designs, man. You know
Man,
what I
what?
mean? And we both grew up in cold states. Now, my roots are in the South. You know what I mean? Like both my mother and father. My father was actually born in Georgia. my mother is first generation Cleveland. You know what I mean? But her mother was born in Georgia. Her father was born in Alabama. And my grandfather's people and my and his parents, they go back to the South Carolina and North Carolina. So it's all really deep south. Some of them went over
Mm-hmm.
to Texas and came back to Alabama. Man, they was moving. They was just moving. But it's
Right.
deep south. But just like a lot of families, they came up north for the industrial, revolution when it kicked off. And that's how we
Mm-hmm.
got up here. You know what I mean? But they grew up farming and everything like that. But back to the story. uh I was actually in the South at the time, and I'm riding with, one of my homeboys, and he was, made a comment about my turtleneck. Like, man, how you out here wearing turtlenecks? I'm like, so I kicked it to him like this, and it wasn't nothing he could say. I said, I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, you find, you know, you like Biggie Smalls. I'm like, he like, yeah, Biggie. I'm like, you know, you think his music fly and everything like that. You think he swagged out, even though we weren't saying swag back then, but you know, the sentiment was the same. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, in one of Big's best videos, he had a turtleneck on.
Facts.
He was like, you have to think about it like, oh. So I'm like, so what you're doing right now is you just demonstrated favoritism. You know what I mean? Big made it. He was in the limelight. It's cool when he did it. It's not cool when I do it.
Right.
And that's what you demonstrate. And he just got real quiet. It was like a deer in the head, like, oh, he got me.
I'll be loving that shit, bro. I just told my brother this yesterday. I swear on the phone call we was having, bro. I say I love when I make these motherfuckers quiet. Like I give them nothing to say. Like you don't even have a rebuttal to what I'm saying to you and shit. Yeah. You can't argue with it, like, you know, because it ain't no arguing with truth. But it's crazy, bro. That's right. That you is not lying about that, bro. If a celebrity do something, one of these rappers, one of these actors, or whatever the case may be, or even these YouTubers or whatever, you know, anybody that's on a higher status or whatever, however you want to put it, you know, they will favor that. They will celebrate whatever they doing. You know what I'm saying? But if a me or you did the same exact thing like you were just saying with the turtlenecks, you know, you would, he had something to say. You mentioned Biggie Smalls wearing it, ain't had nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? That's a fucked up mindset for our people to have. You know, I just said something to my sister the other day over the fact that our people will run out to these foreigners, foreigners, and get their nails done, get their hair done, and all of that type of shit, right, bro? You got a whole sister that do hair. You got an auntie that do nails. You got grandkids like that do all of that shit, bro, and good at it. Good at it. But they'll go spend $400, $500 to $1,000 motherfucking dollars to them motherfuckers, bro.
All day long.
Giving it to their own goddamn people, bro. Oh, what? Man. Same way when you
Go ahead. All
right, I wanted to land when you were saying something about the God damn, what you were saying something about. Oh, we was talking about the different races of people and shit. And I had broke this down on my podcast 7 years ago, bro. When they try to point the fingers at white folks and all these other races about everything, right? All people, right? I was like, let me ask y'all a question. I said, anything harmful that ever happened to you within your life, who was it by? I said, I've never been robbed by a Chinese man, never been stabbed by a Mexican, never been jumped by white people. Like anything harmful that ever happened to me in my life happened by my own fucking kind. So why the fuck is we pointing the fingers at all these? Let's make that make sense.
Right.
Let's make that make sense.
And we're not saying that the racism aspect doesn't exist, but we saying on a day-to-day basis, who do we encounter that's bringing most of the negativity on a day-to-day basis? I mean, like in some neighborhoods, like we were saying in our era, you know what I mean? You know, you couldn't walk down some streets with no confrontation, and you don't even have to know this person.
Fact.
You know what I mean? Like, who are you? Why are you in my? I remember I was doing this wild job, man. And the reason why I called it wild, even though it was a 9 to 5, it wasn't nothing, you know, nothing crooked or nothing like that. It was a 9 to 5, but it put us in positions that were dangerous. But it wasn't because of the position itself; it was because of the people. You know what I mean? And like it was back during the housing crisis, back when everything crashed back in like 2007, 8, 9-ish, you know, stuff like whatever that. Well, actually, it was after that. It was more like 2013 when it was when it had completely hit rock bottom before it came back up. And so what these guys were doing, what these companies were doing was they were buying liens on these properties because people weren't able to pay taxes or whatever. And so what the county was doing, what counties were doing across the nation, not just in Cuyahoga County where I'm at in Cleveland, but one of the hardest hit counties were in Baltimore as well, over there where you at. And so we were getting ready to go to Baltimore as well. But at that point, we were in Cleveland for the most part. We went down to Columbus, and then we started hitting planes and traveling to other cities and states. We were in we hit Arizona. Man, that was one of the best trips I ever had, man. It was beautiful out there. And the people were beautiful. It was just a nice scenery. And then we went down to South Carolina, and what we would have to do, what my job responsibility, along with my other guy that I work with, we would drive 2 separate vehicles. Sometimes we'd be together. We'd pull up. What our job was to take profile pics of the front of the houses. Some of them could be commercial, but most of them were residential. And so we might have like 10 on one street. Sometimes the whole street was had liens on them. And so we'd be riding, click. But while I'm clicking it, I'm driving slow because I ain't trying to like put myself as a hazard and possibly hit somebody. We're trying to do this and drive at the same time. So I had slowed down to take my pics, and somebody was behind me. So I'm thinking like, let me be courteous, pull over to the curb, let them go by, because I'm here doing the job. I ain't trying to hold nobody up. And so I they still behind me. So I'm motioning like, yo, you go ahead, go by, man. I'm gonna be here for a minute. And so as they roll by, they grilling real hard. I'm like, okay, what's that about? But anyway, I continue to do my job. But as I continue, as I get further down the street, I'm noticing I can see like it's been some type of communication throughout the neighborhood, you know what I mean, about me. You know what I'm saying? Because people start circling around, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I know what that means. You know what I mean? They start circling like sharks. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I was done anyway. I was about wrapping it up anyway. So I hit the main street, and the dude is like, they following me like out of the hood up into the traffic light. And so I look over like, man, you ain't even just gonna say nothing, man. You could ask a question and we could just nip this, and we could just go ahead and get this misunderstanding out the way. But it's messed up because he wouldn't even look me in my eyes. Now you gonna follow me, you know what I mean, and treat me like a cold red, but when it's time to talk, you ain't even gonna look in my direction. That's foul.
Right. Yeah. That definitely ain't no man shit. And this was all kind?
Yes, absolutely. This was where was I at? This was Charleston. It was their version of the hood. You know what I mean? It was their version of the hood, so
you said Carolinas, right?
Yeah.
And if I ain't mistaken, I've been there. I've definitely been down there. In Charleston, because I got my people. Actually, my people who I was just talking about, who are the Siberians, that's where they live at. That's where they peoples is from, down North Carolina, Fayetteville. So I used to go down there a lot in Fayetteville, man. I love the Carolinas, actually. I really do. But, shit be crazy, bro. Like what you were just saying, when it comes to our people, y'all was doing y'all job out there. Like, bro, I done had encounters like that, but it was kind of like the same job you had, but wasn't like the people that knock on people's doors trying to sell them either insurance or lower their gas electric bills, like these other little side companies or whatever the case may be. And they would come through our neighborhoods or whatever. Now, once we found out who they were, and that was just them, that was their job, it was all good. But I know areas where they used to go through and dudes would kick their ass, rob them, and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right, definitely.
Ignorant shit, bro. Ignorant shit at the end of the day. I've done a lot of that ignorant shit. I'm not going to lie, bro. And that's why I push it the way I push it so heavily now, because I helped create that. Like, I really, as far as my city anyway, and the area that I come from, bro, I helped create that bullshit. So it's only right that I try to change it or
Mm-hmm.
try to push change within it right now. I have to,
Mm-hmm.
bro. I played a part in that shit. You know what I'm saying? And now I've realized how ignorant I actually was, bro. So, like, bro, oh man, it's so much shit that we just be seeing, bro, and within our people, bro. And I'd be like I cried, bro. Like I swear on everything I love, bro. I broke down real tears a couple of times over the fact that our people so fucking ignorant, bro. Like it was sad to me. Like I couldn't believe that motherfuckers really that fucked up. Like y'all don't see what I see. Y'all don't see this shit. Like, and then it got to a point, bro. I don't give excuses to no one anymore, right? Because we'll give excuses to people. Oh well, they didn't have their dad in their house, or they didn't this, or they didn't have. Their mom grew up in a drug addict. Bro. We all been through the same type of shit. We all been through the same type of shit, bro. So if I've grown outside of it, if you've grown outside of it, what's their problem? I'm not giving no excuses to nobody no more, bro. Like, because you can always make those changes. You can always be the one to break those cycles and break those chains. You know, that's what I'm pushing out here. So,
you know what I think the difference is, though? I think the difference is like, you know, older generations, even though they had they issues with drugs and everything like that. You know, like I got family members who have dealt with drugs and had their bouts with drugs and everything like that. You know what I mean? My father grew up, he was pretty much a project child. Now, he was born in Georgia, and his mother ended up in Cleveland at some point early on in his age. Unfortunately, my grandfather, which would be Edgar Collier, was, pretty much what seemed to be a Rolling Stone. You know what I mean? He had at least one other family outside of ours. So that left him in a messed up situation, especially coming to Cleveland in those type of neighborhoods at that time. You know what I mean? It left him to have to, kind of like grow up fast, you know what I mean? Be able to protect himself, early, you know what I mean? But, he grew up in poverty and everything like that. But it just seems like even still with my father coming up out of that situation, it just seems like Black people at that time, even in the worst situations, it seems like from an integrity standpoint, they still had like a different standard about themselves as far as what they were not going to do. You know what I mean? They could be on drugs, but they still gonna have some type of pride and the sensibility, up here to where they're gonna draw a line at some point. It just seems like as the generations went on, they just didn't carry that on. They just harped on the negative, like, I got it rough, so it's gonna be rough for everybody else around me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna exemplify what I've been through. And it's that energy is just passed on.
It's the morals and the principles, bro. At those times that you're speaking of, even though our fathers or uncles or whoever men was on drugs, and even the women, out there doing whatever they were doing, it was still a respect thing. It was still morals and principles that they stood on. They still made sure the households were straight. They still made sure the children ate. And the children were well off and things like that. I know because I grew up within a household where all of that was going on, bro. I was telling my nephew about that today. But anyway, I get what you're saying, bro. There was the men stood on morals and principles, and they also stood on street code. You know what I'm saying? And really, street code was kind of like man code, if you ask me. Like what you stand really on as a man, bro. You feel what I'm saying, bro? It's the same shit. We stood on man business, like. Back when we grew up in the same era, so it's like we used to play football against dudes like other areas in our neighborhood that we had issues with. We wouldn't go shoot at niggas. We probably wouldn't even fight. We played football against niggas. Like, let's go on the field. Let's see if we can break one of these niggas' fucking legs or something. Like, that was our thing. That's how we got our aggression off. through
Right.
sports.
Right.
Like I could probably count, not name. I could probably count on two hands, like how many actual physical fights we've been in with people in our neighborhood versus us doing just the sports thing. You know what I'm saying? But until we got a little older, then shit got a little bit more realer. But back then, that's what it was, bro. We would go play sports or something like that. We played baseball, basketball, baseball, or football. That's what we would do. Meet us over the park. That was our thing because the park separated kind of all of the different areas that surrounded my neighborhood. That one park separated the areas. So whenever it was an issue, man, let's meet at the park. Meet on the football field. Let's meet on the baseball field. Let's meet on the basketball court. That's how we was kind of, bro. Versus going in the house, go grabbing a gun, and let's go kill this nigga.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But
it definitely was a big difference, brother. For sure.
Right.
But and, where did we go wrong? I'm all about the root.
Yeah.
Right? Getting to the root of the problem, bro, because that's the only way that we can come up with some sort of solutions. We got to go to the root of the problem. So the question is, where did this all start? So they would say some generations would blame, like the generation after us would blame us, right? Because they always try to blame the generation before about what's going on, right? So, but you got brothers like me and you. Look how we're conducting ourselves right now. Look at what we're pushing out here into this universe. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that finger can't keep being pointed, my nigga. Sometimes y'all got to realize you got to stand your goofy ass in the mirror and look at your motherfucking self. It ain't nobody really put the finger at.
I will say this, like, despite, what my mother witnessed, with my grandfather, because my grandfather is a very sad story, you know what I mean? Like, because, in his at the height of who he was, like in his, what do you call it again when you at your apex? In his prime. In his prime, when he was in his right state of mind before the alcohol, my mom was like, man, he was the best father. He was the best businessman. He was an early entrepreneur, within his family. You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, those years were the best years with me interacting with my father. But she was like, when he got his hands on the alcohol, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. What is it, Jekyll and Hyde? He was just a totally different person. He was a person you had to hide from. And he was like, she was like, it was real sad for me to deal with because I knew my father back when he was in his prime, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I know for a fact that he was a totally different person, man. He was focused like no other person. He was a provider. He was a dedicated father. But when the alcohol hit, man, and she said as well, his brothers were kind of envious. So they used to, whisper little stuff in his ears. And when you own the alcohol, plus your brothers is purposely, trying to bring you down. You know what I mean? And he couldn't see it. He couldn't see it at first. And by the time he could see it, it was too late for him. You know what I mean? But to land this home is, my mom saw that and she was like, I'm only taking from when he was at his apex, all of the good stuff. This is what I'm taking into my home, and this is going to be the standard for my kids. My father too, by his father not being there, he was like, man, I'm gonna be the excellent provider. You know what I mean? I'm going 200% for my family. You know what I mean? So forth and so on. So them experiencing that had a different effect than how it would have had on other people, because they could have took that, you know what I mean, let that be, depressing, let that become part of them. Instead, it had
continued that cycle.
Yeah,
they could have continued the same cycle,
right?
But that's how shit's supposed to go, bro. Like, it's like we supposed to do for ours what wasn't done for us, like as men. You know what I'm saying? Like me, my dad passed away from alcohol. You know what I'm saying? When I was 9 years old. So I didn't get a chance. I didn't have that chance to grow up with my dad and have those experiences of
Right.
having a dad around or whatever the case may be, you know.
Right.
So I made sure that I was that person for mine. I got 3, you know, all 3 back to back, bro. I kept them all in the same household, no matter what the fuck we was going through in life. You know, I don't deal with their mom, but if she was going through something with it for her situation and they had to come with me, or she was going to split them up or whatever the case may be, no, I never allowed that. All of them coming with me, and it didn't matter where I was at, bro. I don't give a fuck, bro. I could say I was dragging my nuts and I was really demanding it. Because at the end of the day, you know, these are my children. I don't give a fuck about none of what you talking about, especially when I was staying with my mom. You supposed to be Big Mama. Y'all supposed to get Big Mama energy. That's what Big Mama is. Big Mama house is always there and available for everyone who needs to come. That's a part of the
That's
family.
another
Y'all
thing
don't
too,
know.
man.
Like,
The big mamas is where they at?
bro, what? Bro, you gotta listen to my podcast, man. I speak more on that Big Mama energy than I do anything, bro. Cause I feel like that's where we failing at. That's where we're failing at as a culture of people. That's where we're failing at, bro. There's no more Big Mamas out here, bro. Big Mama didn't play, bro. Big Mama didn't play. What was the movie? And the brother just brought this movie up to Soul Food. Do you remember on the movie Soul Food, bro, when the Big Mama passed away? Who brought the family back together? It was the little boy.
Yeah.
It was the little boy, bro.
Yeah, sure
right?
was.
Okay, so I speak heavily about Big Mama energy, right? And I always I say, when Big Mama passed on or transitioned over to the other side, however you want to look at it, because energy don't die. But when that happened, somebody was supposed to pick up the torch and ran with that. Somebody's supposed to pick up that Big Mama energy, right? So we would think that it would be a woman, right? In all reality, we would think that it was supposed to have been our mother, right? Since that was her mother, right? You would think it's supposed to have been your mother, right? But then think about this though, bro. As a kid, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with this because every brother I ever said this to agreed. We were more attached to our mamas and grandmamas than we were our fathers and grandfathers. I know I was. I know for a fact I was. I was more attached to my mom and my grandmother than I was to my dad and my grandfather and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. And I asked a lot of brothers this, and everybody agreed to the same shit. And I'm like, bro, it's a reason for that. I'm like, we were the ones that was getting that information and stored into us by Big Mama without even knowing it. Like you were saying when we first came on, bro, when you said you was fortunate enough to learn how to plant by your grandmother, great grandma, bro. I did. My grandma, I was in the yard all the time. I just showed y'all my seeds. I got plants all around my house, bro. Who do you think I received that from? My Big Mama. You feel me? So maybe it was meant for us to pick up that torch and push that energy, brother. Instead of us thinking that another woman was supposed to have done that. And then when I really think about it, when I think about that movie, Soul Food, it's like, damn, that's exactly what he did. You know what I'm saying? So that really like lit up that light bulb in my head. Like, all right, it's not meant for a woman to do this. Because look at how shit going now, bro, with all women.
And I had I had both examples too. Like the males in my family, you know, I think my family is an interesting story. You know that they shaped me greatly because in their youth, some of my males, man, they were some straight players. You know what I mean? You know, in their youth, they treated some of our women just dead wrong. You know what I mean? But at some point in their lives, they had an epiphany. You know what I mean? If for whatever reason they changed, you know what I mean? They changed spiritually and they start realizing what their role should be as men. And once they did realize that type of wisdom, I'm talking about like my great grandfather who's deceased now. He probably passed away probably about 99 years of age. And it wasn't because, you know, he was getting old. It was because he got into a car accident and he just wasn't able to recover from it. You know what I mean? But before that, at 99 years of age, we wasn't expecting him to go. We was looking at him like, man, he's still kicking strong. You know what I mean? We didn't really feel like death was in the air whatsoever. You know what I mean? So, but you know, he completely changed his mindset, man. And it's just you know, I miss him. I miss him dearly because even though I didn't realize it at the time when he was alive, first of all, I was a kid anyway. So I wasn't really involved in family politics like that. But my mom tells me the stories now. You know, they grew up farming down there in Georgia. That's what they did. You know, his father, you know, started off sharecropping. He saved his money up enough to obtain a substantial amount of property, and he had a whole bunch of kids, and they all farmed it. So that's how we came up down south through farming. You know what I mean? And eventually, the
Yeah.
kids got tired of farming, and you know, my grandmother ran away to Cleveland. You know what I mean? Along with my my uncle. Both of them are deceased now. But my point is that, you know, after they moved, everybody moved from the farm. My great grandfather maintained everything. He made sure that because he had a lot of sisters. He had, I think it was more sisters than he had brothers. And so sometimes they used to have spats. They weren't fair towards each other and everything like that. But my great grandfather used to bring it back, bring everybody back. Like, now listen, remember, you know, our father said this is the way that he wanted. He wanted us to share. You know what I mean? The land is for everybody. You know what I mean? And he used to make sure everybody got their bread at anything he sold. Now, it wasn't too many. It wasn't nobody else really involved with the management at that time. But he used to still come back to Cleveland, split it even with everybody, whether he was
Right.
involved, hands on with it or not. And he just had a humble soul, you know what I mean? And he was just determined to keep that BS energy out of the family, but from a male type of energy though. You know what I'm saying? And it was just interesting to look back on that and you know, reminisce on that. You know what I mean? And I miss it, man. I miss the you know, the big mamas, but he was like the chief. He had
Oh
became
yeah,
like,
for sure. I experienced the same shit. My grandfather right
yeah,
here on the wall, bro. My grandfather was a Buffalo soldier, bro. Sergeant
that's what's
Major
up, man.
Edward W. Johnson, 10th Cavalry Buffalo soldier, bro. So I've definitely received that energy on a male's perspective as well within the household. But you know, I realized Big Mama was always head honcho, no matter what. Man
Yes,
played man role for
right,
sure. Stood on
right.
man business. You know what I'm saying? When it was time to be a man, the man was being the man. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, grandpa say he never really had to say too much. Big Mama words was law.
Yeah,
Big Mama words was
right.
law, bro. You
That's
hear
right.
me? Like even
That's right.
grandpa listened to Big Mama. You hear me? At the end of
That's
the
right.
day, her word was law. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? So, but I definitely got the experience on both sides, bro. As far as men being men as well. You know, my grandfather is crazy because you mentioned baseball and going to the baseball game, bro. My first baseball game I went to was with my grandfather, the Orioles. I met Cal Ripken. He signed my baseball and everything, you know,
That's what's
at the
up.
game with my grandfather. So,
That's
you know,
what's
I
up.
experienced that. We used to watch wrestling together. That was our favorite. WWF. You
Yeah,
know, we used to record all the Summer Slams. Like, I got a lot of great memories, you know.
right.
And bro, I even said this too before on my podcast, and people was like, "Damn, that's crazy." I was like, "Bro, I got more memories with my grandparents than I do with my parents. Like, I really can't tell you too much of nothing, bro, when it comes to like far as me being out and doing things, you know, with my parents. But I could tell you a lot of what I was out doing with my grandparents, though. You
Yeah,
know,
man. I mean, because they just had that energy about them, man, that you just can't forget. Like my same great grandmother, our Saturday routine was she would get me because at that time they were living in inner city Cleveland still. You know what I mean? And so it was the upper part of inner city Cleveland, but nonetheless it was still the inner city. But
right?
our routine was she would get me. We'd go around the corner to Carl's Barbershop, man, back when Carl's Barbershop was still standing. She'd get you know, make sure I got my hair cut every Saturday, and then we'll catch that bus line up to my old neighborhood, where the Randall Mall was. And everybody in Cleveland missed Randall Mall, man. Even though Randall Mall was in the suburb, we got suburbs that you would call Greater Cleveland because it's so connected to the city. You know what I mean? It's no
You got 'em
boundaries.
like
I mean,
that too.
you could literally hop across the yard, being a suburb, and then hop right back across the
Be in the
yard,
city. Yeah.
and you in inner city Cleveland now. You know what I mean? So you know, we used to go from that inner city barbershop up the road to Randall Mall. Back then, you could still smoke in the restaurants. So the whole thing was smoked out. She'd come take me to this my favorite cafe diner, and it would be smoked out because back then, man, you know, you could still smoke in food facilities. You know what I mean? Dude would have a cigarette on the tip of his lips while he flipping the burgers, man. I didn't care. These was real burgers back then. You know what I mean? This is real burgers. You know what I mean? And it was the best burgers I ever had in life, man. But that memory, man, I just can't forget those memories. And back at the time too, what else is sad now is because that Lee Harvard area don't look nothing like it did back then. Back then it was popping. Everything was popping from Lee Harvard all the way up to Randall Mall on a Saturday. Jam packed. The traffic was jam packed, man. Everybody was out enjoying themselves, and then in the evening, everybody barbecuing. It was just a sight to see, man. And you know, people used to roll out their cars and everything. You know what I mean? And it was just a sight to see. Speaking on that, I remember we was talking about what happened to us as a community. I think one of the main things that happened, brother, is integration. As crazy as that might sound, because talking to my mother when she was coming up on St. Clair, I don't know if you remember, you know, if you Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy because I was going to ask you. I was going to say, bro, don't Bone Thugs come from Cleveland? Ain't they from Cleveland, Ohio? I was going to mention that, you know, to you and shit. But yeah, shot, man, one of my favorite groups to this day.
Still to this day. You know what I mean? For me too. But they from Glenville, St. Clair, just like my family is who came up from Georgia. They was all the way anywhere between 97th and 105th. That's the heart of Glenville, St. Clair. You know what I mean? And so my mother along with my grandfather, who I mentioned, and my grandmother who came up from Barnesville, they stayed on 97th in St. Clair. But the thing that I wanted to land with you is that I would often ask my mama how Glenville, St. Clair was at that time. And she did mention the transition too. She said she remembered at the youngest point in her life, what she remembered, and this is the key that I'm trying to point out to. At her youngest memories, she said that on Glenville, St. Clair, you could catch the bus and you could ride through each type of neighborhood. You had the Jews, you had black folks, you had the Irish, you had the Italians. But everybody had equal capability of providing their own stores, grocery stores, shoe stores. I'm talking about they was making shoes. You know what I'm saying? They had their own banks. You know what I mean? Like the reason why the beauty salon business that is long standing in our family continued the way that it did is because my mom was in need to transition it up to the suburbs in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? And she was struggling trying to get a loan. But at that time, it was still a black-owned bank, still within Cleveland. Now we still have like a smaller bank here, but it wasn't nothing like that. That bank was huge. And they had clout. You know what I mean? She said she went in there and she was like, you know, I need this loan, blah, blah, blah. And they was like, hell, shit, go ahead and get that. You know what I mean? And that's what pushed us forward, you know what I mean? But they started on 97 in St. Clair, and she said, man, you could go down block for block for block in Glenville, St. Clair. We had no need to go out of our neighborhood for nothing.
Right.
She said we had it all.
You gotta get moms, bro. You gotta get moms on the podcast, bro.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, bro. I would love to hear those type of stories, bro. I'm talking about if she want to come on mine. Like I want to lock in with the elders and those who had those type of experiences that can speak about what actually was going on back then. You know, how we was actually living as so-called black folks or whatever the case may be. You know,
because a lot of people don't realize, black folks themselves don't realize what we once were. And non-black people, they've only seen us in the state that we ain't
no
now.
more though. That's what's crazy, but they know more about us than we do.
Yes.
Our races, they know more about who we are and who we were back then than what the fuck we do, bro.
Because we've been disconnected from the root. You know what I mean? We've been disconnected from the root, man. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Even though my peoples went through what they went through, they were still able to maintain themselves enough to realize their mistakes in their youth and change it around before it was too late. Now, some of them, you know what I mean, didn't fully come out of it, like my grandfather, you know what I mean? But fortunately, you know, my grandmother, that didn't deter my grandmother. You know what I mean? She pushed on, she persevered with her kids. But whatever my grandfather instilled in my mother when he was in his heyday, it just stuck with her. You know what I mean? It stuck with her, and it made a like a lasting impression on her. And that's just what she took. You know what I mean? She took that, and she took what Glenville St. Clair was before it became Bone Thugs and Harmony St. Clair, which is a completely different dynamic. You know what I mean? Once the drugs started getting pushed in there, you know what I mean? It changed, and she was still there when it was transitioning. She said she remembers when it was all love in the community to when it started changing to these rough girls, you know what I mean? You know, standing on the corner, impeding her path, like, you know, you get past here, you got to fight past us. You know what I mean? They start becoming real rough. They start wanting to fight her for no reason, and you know, everything like that. They literally had a group of raping boys prowling around the neighborhood. They was literally raping girls. You know what I mean? My mom said that one night she was sleeping because in Cleveland, man, we got a lot of 2-family homes. And so it's up and down units. And so I believe this was an up and down unit. My folks was at the top. I think my grandfather was actually written out the lower unit. But he had his family up top. Somebody had put a ladder to my mother's window up top, snuck through that mug while she was still asleep, and he was getting ready to do this to her. And as soon as right before he got his hands on her mouth completely, she woke up and she started screaming. When she started screaming, he got up out of there. But she was still able to see him, and she pointed him out to my grandfather. And so, you know, my grandfather, he's an Alabama boy. You can't violate his home and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, he made her point out who it was. He was like, don't lie about it, because you're going to be in trouble if you lie about it and you really know what this dude looked like. And so she was like, he pulled up. He like, is this dude right here? Because it looked like him. Because he saw him from the back. I'm like, he was like, it looked like him. Is that dude? And he's like, tell me the truth. Don't lie. She was like, yeah, that's him. So he got out, did his 1-2. You know what I mean? But even after that, that was it for my grandfather in that neighborhood. You know what I mean? He got up out of there and he moved up to Lee Harvard. But that's how that neighborhood was getting all the way back in the late 60s.
They was all people that was doing that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's take me back to what I just said. Any of the harmful shit that happened to us within our lives, who was it by? Our own fucking people, bro. Like,
and actually, no, this was more like this had to be more like, it couldn't have been later than it might have been early 60s, because I don't think my aunt was born yet. You know, my aunt is my mother's.
Bro, so that so goes to show you this fucked up shit been going on way back then, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this shit been going on, bro. Like, these cycles just keep on being repeated. Nobody's breaking the chains. Like, what? Man, yeah, all right. I did. But from my family bloodline, I did. I'm breaking those chains. I'm breaking those cycles. Ain't none of that weird shit going on over here, man. But that's crazy, bro.
But trauma does different things to different people, man. Trauma, in your case, you was like, man, I'm gonna make sure my kids don't ever have to go through this. But some people are like, it lets it resonate in their spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? Not to make excuses for nobody, but you know, it just.
No, you're not doing that, bro. It just takes you back to this when you say that, right? They say it's only meant for the strong. It's only meant for the strong, bro. That's the only way we can sum that up. It's only meant for the strong. This shit is not for everybody, bro. That's why when it comes to being spiritual, right? I'm not one of those spiritual people that feel like every last melanated, every last so-called black man and woman is gonna wake up. We all gonna get together and we just gonna take over, whatever the case may be. I'm not one of those ones that think that way, bro. That shit is never gonna happen.
It don't work like that.
Hey, bro, it do not work like that. It's only a select few of us that's going to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a select few of us that's going to do this shit. You know, accomplish these missions. I'm one to feel as though I'm going to be here to see it. I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to be the reason of it, and I'm going to see it. You know, I'm one of those older ones that's going to be here to see it, bro. I'm not going to, you know, because some people speak as if, all right, man, I know the next generation going to be the ones that do it. Nah, man. I'm going to be here to see it being done.
You gotta have that mentality, man. You can't keep saying next generation, man. You gotta have the mentality right now. Like the things that one of the main things that I took from my mother, and one of the main things that she instilled in me, and you know, unfortunately wasn't reciprocated by my peers growing up, is that unity aspect. You know what I mean? Like we taking everything, everybody with us. You know what I mean? Everybody, ain't nobody gonna get left out mentality. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, you know, people didn't honor that when I was coming up, you know what I mean? But I know it's going to be a day where, you know, black people in general will be in the mindset where that's the only thing that they can reciprocate. And I think we getting to that point.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are, brother. We definitely are. But it's only a select few that's going to really stand on that, bro.
It is.
Along the journey, right? You'll see who's who. Like, I've had many buildings that were being built, right? And many buildings that have crumbled. I'm talking about many, bro. Many, bro. But I would never stop because I know it's going to get, that time will come where I get with the right tribe of people and we're going to go ahead and push this shit the way it needs to be pushed. So I will never give up when it comes to the building. But I've learned, it was an experience, you know, when it comes to people, places, and things, like, bro, especially in the spiritual world. Because people will come speaking heavily as if they're really tapped in, bro. But then you just, that one day just coming, they just, oh, man. Bro, it got to the point, it happened so many times, I'd be like, God damn, another one. That's all I can say, bro. God damn, another one. Like, come on, bro. Like, damn, you was faking the funk too? Because it's like, bro, like I said, ain't no such thing as perfect, and I'm not looking for that. But when you speak as if you're a spiritual god or a spiritual goddess, it's certain shit. Not even just saying gods or goddess, as men and women, it's certain shit that we do, it's certain shit that we don't do. Just as men and women, bro. So when I see that being done from these people that speak highly as if they're on that type of level, it's like, come on, bro.
You gotta put this down from the foundation first, man. You can't skip levels.
Can't skip. You know what I mean? Thank you for saying that, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. You can't, man. I gotta show you some things too, bro. When we get off of here, I'm gonna send you my number. I'm gonna have to show you something. Because there's a lot of stuff you can do on here that I can see you ain't learned it yet. But we're going to tap in. It's a lot, like you got the sounds, you got the hand claps, the sound, the like different sound effects you can make on here. You can put a title down here at the bottom. Let me not mess up the content. We're going to talk about it.
I'm familiar with it a little bit. I'm pretty sure you can show me more, man. I'm open to it.
Oh, yeah, man. Like music, you can put your own music on here. If you got music, you can put the links on here and play your own music on here and all that shit. As the intro, the outro, it's a lot of shit you can do. That's why I say I like this better than going live on YouTube and shit.
Definitely, man. Definitely a better platform, man. I was so relieved, bro, when you gave me that link, man. I can't stop putting emphasis on it, man. Like
when you told me, bro, when you said that, man, I was looking for a platform. Boom, boom, boom. I said, what? He gonna love this shit. Straight body to you.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Man, it was like Christmas, man. I was a little kid again, man.
Word, word,
For sure, man.
word.
I was so appreciative of that, man. I'll never forget that moment, man. I never will, man. That pushed me
That's what's
forward
up, man.
because I was sitting on a lot of ideas for a long time, trying to find in search for the proper platform to put it on, where I can have
Right.
all these tools at my access to make sure it come out right. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that YouTube live,
Mm-hmm.
man, it just wasn't working, bro. It
Right.
wasn't
At
working.
all. At
It
all.
had me thinking that I had my PowerPoint on the screen. It wasn't up there at all. I'm like,
Right.
damn, I just did a whole 2 hours of this, man, and ain't none of that get on the screen.
Ain't none of that. Like,
Man, I'd be
man,
so upset, man. Yes,
that's
brother,
YouTube for
man.
you. That's YouTube for you for sure. And then once they start changing up so much shit, like, now you gotta have what is it, 10,000, I believe, like before you get monetized, or is it five?
Hell yeah.
Is it five? Like, bro, like I don't even have time to put that much energy into trying to cause I could, don't get it twisted. I could.
Mm-hmm.
I could get that many people, if I was pushing it like consistently as I was. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Consistently, so telling people to subscribe. I never done none of that though, bro. I put this on everything I love. The people that subscribe to my channels or whatever the case may be, they are genuine people that got love for me, that like what I was talking about. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It was nothing never forced or me continue consistently telling people to subscribe to my page, do this, do that. I've never done none of that, bro. I've never done none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we don't entertain the goofiness is the reason why nothing will never go viral on my end. And
Mm-hmm.
unless I'm going to go viral for saying some powerful shit on a spiritual level, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And we're going to go
Mm-hmm.
viral for that. But,
Mm-hmm.
as far as some goofy shit, that's never going to happen. So,
Right.
brothers like us that's speaking on a positive level, bro, and pushing
Mm-hmm.
something on that type of level, shit ain't going to do but so much. And I'm not looking for it. And
Mm-hmm.
that, man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to bring that up again, but I pinpointed something. I pinpointed something, bro. When it comes to a lot of these brothers and sisters that got these social media platforms, these YouTube pages that speaking on a higher level as gods and goddesses, Indians, the real Indians, and all of that. I'm not saying nobody's name, but I'm just saying, right? We all know who controls social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know this is not our shit, bro. You know this. This is not our shit. We all know who shit this is, right? So think
Mm-hmm.
about this, right? These brothers and sisters that I'm speaking of, they have major platforms. They have a lot of people that subscribe to their pages, that's following them and all of that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yet they supposedly speaking truth to our people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about this, bro. If they have that many people that subscribe to them, that follows them, do you think the motherfuckers that control this shit will be allowing them to wake that many people up?
Yeah.
So it makes me question
Exactly.
rather the fact that y'all actually speaking truth to our people or not. Because I
Right.
don't feel like they will allow that, bro. I mean, this is just my
Mm-hmm.
personal feelings. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that would happen, bro. I don't think
Cause like
that's
I noticed like on TikTok, man, I got two different TikTok pages. I got one from all of the family entrepreneur ideas that we ventured into. I got one page for that, but I got a page for the type of topics that we're talking about now. And I often, I took in a lot of interest in, you know, this fake DNA crap. And I'm not saying like DNA is fake in and of itself. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
But the way that they manipulate these results, and just the construct, and you know what I'm saying. I'm on there.
I can speak on a personal experience when it come to that, because I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about for the DNA tests, and I'm saying the results that they got back, that was that
yeah,
amount, this, that amount,
yeah,
bro. Personal experience. My sister, right?
yeah.
She had did it. And she already know where I stand with this shit. She know I don't believe in none of that shit. That's a part of their system. They are not going to tell you the truth about yourself, right? She heard me speak about this multiple times. So that's why I was the first person she reached out to when she got her results from doing it. Bro, do you know that her shit was saying she was fucking Asian? What did it say? Like 70%, 60% Asian and some other percent or something over there in Africa and shit. Basically, right, all foreign, right? Meaning you're not from this land. So I'm telling her, like, sis, don't accept that. Deny that. Whatever you need to do, don't accept that. Because if you do, that's saying that you're foreign to this land. That's saying that you're not from here. If you accept that. You feel what I'm saying? So we not doing that, bro.
No,
like,
we ain't doing none of that.
But yeah, that was a personal experience, man. They had her as all foreign motherfuckers and shit, bro. And I'm like, that's crazy. Then I done seen something like, I don't know, you know, this AI shit so crazy. We don't know what's real, what's not these days, bro. Because I done seen some with the DNA videos where they did the DNA on the dogs. Like they sent their dog DNA in or pet's DNA in instead, but acting as if it was their own.
Yes.
Right? They wasn't sending their own and they was acting if they was, it was their own. They was sending pet shit in. And the pet shit was coming back certain shit. I'm like, what?
That's
now,
real.
I don't know. Did you believe that, or you thought that was some bullshit?
I believe that, man. Like, that's that they definitely doing it, man. But one of the things I was gonna say is like, you remember earlier, before you chimed in on the subject, I was saying that DNA in of itself is not fake. Like our DNA is our DNA. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there are ways. Because you spoke of a system, which I agree with. It's a system that's operating that is misinterpreting DNA. You know what I mean? Like the DNA that comes out of us obviously can be linked to our parents. You know what I mean? They could be linked to our siblings. I got one sibling. You know what I mean? I got a sister too. You know what I mean? She's older than I am. But anyway, you know, it can link us like that, right? So DNA is real, you know what I mean? But what they're doing with the DNA is not real, if that makes sense. But there are alternative, genomic studies, and that's what I've been focusing on my page. I do history as well, but I really like to destroy the foundational construct of what they feel like is their most dangerous weapon, which is that DNA system. You know what I mean? And so I like challenges, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you want to talk about this DNA stuff? I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. So one of the main things is I featured one of the first things that I did as soon as you gave me that link. I have been loading it up, man. I have been loading it up for a long time. And so when you gave me that link, I was like, I found a genomic study on Kennewick, man, where it clearly says, like distinctly, like there's no question about it. He had African DNA. El Moran had not just ancient African DNA, but more modern West African like DNA. And they made it clear that this DNA was in America before the slave trade. They made that very clear. And they didn't just say it just to be saying it. They said based on our studies of these populations that we assessed, we know that there are African-like signals in this population that's supposed to be heavily associated with slave trade, populations that are different than this other West African-like signal that's older and different than this West African-like signal. So therefore, we conclude that the El Moran had came in contact in America with the West African-like population that had already been here well before any type of European contact. You know what I mean? So it's out there, and specifically, this is the one thing, that the most important thing I wanted to tell you. They said themselves that you know what I'm saying, that this is, what was the word they used? They called the mainstream way of sequencing DNA a mathematical illusion, bro. That's what, and these are two molecular geneticists now. These ain't somebody who just, you know what I mean, this just made us some, you know what I mean, that's not qualified to speak on it. These are two molecular geneticists themselves. You know what I mean? They're like, what these geneticists are doing is simply a mathematic illusion. And they broke down why. They like, you guys are using what, a fast S&P method, and you guys are basically convoluting deep ancestry, and you're making people look related when they're really not. And so the conclusion was Kennewick Man, unlike that 2015 study, was the least related to modern Native Americans, whereas the 2015 study said that was his most, he shared the most affinity with modern Native Americans. This study was like, it's the complete opposite because of the method that they were using. So I'm like, this, like, those type of studies are the baseline foundation of how to crack that DNA code, as far as what they're doing to manipulate it to make it look a certain type of way.
I say at the end of the day, ain't nowhere in the world that they're gonna tell you the truth about who you are. Like, I always looked at it that way when it comes to their system anyway and shit. Yeah. Like, they're not gonna tell us who we are right now at this point. Like, so what's even the point of even doing a DNA test? Like, that is their system. Like, the only way you're gonna get that understanding of knowing who you truly are is tapping in with the elders. And that's the only real way, bro. And I was fortunate enough to have my grandmother tell me this when I was 6 years old, before I even knew what an Indian or a Cherokee was. She told me that at 6 years old. My grandmother told me this. So, once I started waking up, as far as my spiritual awakening, and I started really tapping in and doing the real footwork and, my own studies and background checks and all of that, it all came back to that. Like, I got documents all in my phone and shit, And
I'm gonna ask you about that. Maybe not on this one, but maybe on the next one we do. I want to ask you, about obtaining paperwork, because I have, at least two significant relatives that spoke of indigenous ancestry specifically. One of them was interesting too. I don't know if you ever heard of the Scottsboro Boys. But my great uncle is Clarence Norris. This will be my father's uncle on his maternal side. Okay. And so, as the story goes, is that when Clarence Norris was about 13 years old, he was on a train ride going up. I think it was going from Alabama up into Michigan. And see, my father's folks is from Tobo County. They started off in Tobo County, Georgia, which is not too far from Alabama. So that's how he found himself on a train in Alabama. But the significance to the story is that him and a group of other, black teens, they got into an altercation with some racist white folks, some racist white male teens who didn't want them on the train. Now, what was they gonna do? Jump off the train? You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to stand and defend themselves. You know what I mean? Right. They gonna jump off a moving train. They're like, what y'all want us to do? Because we not gonna get off, and y'all not gonna make us get off. Right. You know what I mean? So it got physically confrontational. They got the best of the white guys. They were out of spite. They put a white girl up to saying that they had raped her. So it goes to court, and eventually the white girl admits that she lied about it in her testimony in court. This was admitted into court. They sent him to jail anyway. My uncle does 18 years. 18 years before he was exonerated of those charges and was never fully pardoned. But anyway, he wrote a book about his experience. And in the book, what's significant to what we're talking about here is he described his father. He said, I don't, my father didn't talk much. He was a stern man. But what he did tell me is that he was Indian and he was an Indian slave. And he was an Indian slave on a plantation. And the way that my father describes, because my father wasn't living when his grandfather was living, but he got the stories from his mother, and his mother used to, with the rest of that family, used to tell him about, you know, what he looked like, you know, and how he dressed was what you would expect someone who was upholding indigenous ancestry to dress like. He was described with braided pigtails down to his waist, straight white teeth, copper colored skin. That's how he was described. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I mean? So not only was he indigenous during slavery, when slavery was over, it seemed like he carried the culture with him. But he didn't talk much because, you know what I mean, he had a hard life. You know what I mean? He wasn't much for words, but he told his son Nat. And so the family members that grew up around him, including Clarence Norris, my grandmother, who's mentioned in that book as well, you know what I mean? Growing up around him, they could see the indigenous ancestry. And of course, they have more history in terms of, you know, his tribal affiliation and everything like that. But of course, since they've been long deceased, that history has been, you know, it wasn't carried forward in those type of details. So I always wanted to go down to Georgia and try to dig up some of his records. You know what I mean? Because he didn't write it down, you know what I mean? He wasn't really that much really interested in talking. He would talk some, you know, they got some information about him. You know what I mean? They got a lot more than you know, my father's generation was able to obtain. His mother knew a lot about his indigenous ancestry, but my father, you know, he was young, he was a child at the time. He wasn't really thinking about writing down nothing, you know, with these conversations, you know, going over his head, you know what I mean? So I always wanted to investigate that. It's my mother's side of the family, you know, one of the major matriarchs on her side of the family, they spoke about, you know, their indigenous ancestry as well. So I always wanted to go dig up these records, and I was going to ask you where to start. And you don't necessarily have to elaborate right now, but
yeah, we can definitely talk about that on the back end, because I just, you know, done something, you know, as far as my peoples or whatever down here, trying to discover some things, like for some land and all that. But you know, I ain't even talking about it, bro. I swear I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. But yeah, we can definitely tap in on that, bro.
But your grandfather is a Buffalo Soldier, man. We definitely got to talk about that on the next one, man, for sure, man. That's some history right there.
Man, and I ain't even really, you know, I done like a little snippet. I call it a snippet on my own platform as far as, you know, speaking about the Buffalo Soldiers, because I'm still trying to gain more information, because I feel like it's still something about the Buffalo Soldiers that haven't been spoken about. It's something about them that haven't been put out there yet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to figure out what that is. You know, because I do know that they were an all-black military. Like, most people don't know that they were the first all melanated military and shit. You know, most people think that the Black Panthers was our first black organization, whatever the case may be, but they weren't. It was the Buffalo Soldiers. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it was something that was supposed to be given to them based off of the duties that they did, working for these presidents or whatever the case may be, fighting in these wars or whatever they did. You know, I feel like it was something that was supposed to be given to them, that was supposed to have been given to them and wasn't. And I heard that I was watching a lot of documentaries about the Buffalo Soldiers. So the whole story of how they lied and said that they shot up the bar. I don't know if you heard any of this and shit. If you haven't, then we're just going to save it. But I know a lot of the history of the Buffalo Soldiers.
I haven't heard that particular detail. So, yeah, man, you know, when we get to that, definitely tell me about it.
We can definitely do that. But the next joint, we can tap in on the Buffalo Soldiers for sure that we can.
Yeah, man. This is I think we vibed out pretty well, man. But
we definitely did. My girl cussing me out right now and everything.
Oh man, go ahead and get to it, man. This will be the last.
I told her, I say, man, this is my bro. I say, man, I told the brother I was gonna lock in with him You know what I'm saying? To come over there and show some love. So for sure, I was looking forward to it. You know, I definitely was. So it's all love, brother. I mean, when the next time you try to lock in? When the next time you want to lock in, bro? Let me know when your next day of locking in, so I can make sure I'm available to come and vibe with you again, man.
Man, we can pretty much do it. We can pretty much do
whatever
it.
Your schedule looking like, bro, because you know I'm fighting against the system right now, so I ain't really hopping on those slave ships right now. I'm on a mission, bro. I promise you, I'm not playing. I'm on a mission with these motherfuckers, bro, for real.
Yeah, and the next one too, man. I want you to, you know, elaborate on, you know, on your entrepreneur mission or whatever, man. Just to put it out there, you know, into the atmosphere, and I'll let you know what I got going on as well, and we can we could definitely vibe like that too, man. But I'm pretty much available this same time pretty much every week. I mean, just like you, man, I'm an entrepreneur, man. You know what I mean? I don't have like a 9 to 5, so you know what I mean? I can make it happen anytime, but
you know, all right, so shit, bro. I'm gonna say, well, you know, this weekend, Father's Day weekend, so I believe my son, cause my girl keep throwing hints at me as if her and my son been speaking about whatever they trying to plan out. She might be bringing my other 2 kids down here too. I don't know, but I know they got something planned out. So this weekend I'll definitely be busy. But what's tomorrow? Tomorrow Wednesday. Shit, we probably can lock in Thursday if you cool with that. We could definitely lock in Thursday. Whatever day you're available. I'm just saying the weekend is when I won't be available. Actually, after Thursday, I won't be available. So
I'm thinking this same time. I'm thinking this same time and day next week. Okay. That'll give me a chance to get back on the grind for the rest of this week, do what I gotta do, and then you know what I mean. I can set my schedule for the same time, same day next week. If that's
Got you. Say less, brother. That's even better. Even better. But we definitely gonna speak on the back end, bro. So we can try to orchestrate this shit a little bit more better. You know what I'm saying? Where I can have some people pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Because I can definitely bring that the audience to your platform for sure. I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Good look on that, man. And check out. I had my other brother Abdullah Muhammad come through, and he spoke about his experience when he was in Arabia, and he lived in Arabia and he lived in Africa. You know what I mean? And he was speaking about where those tribes really come from. He said he told him himself face to face they come from Asia and Europe. So I just found that real interesting. You might want to check that out too, man.
Right, word.
Yeah.
That was definitely will.
We vibed out just like me and you did, man. Probably about 2 weeks ago. It was a good segment, man. I'm gonna have him back on too, man. And eventually, you know, we all can vibe out eventually, man. He's a good dude.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, I got a lot of brothers and sisters, bro, on a spiritual level that have a clear understanding of who we are. That will definitely come vibe out on your platform whenever you're ready to do that. So basically, I can bring more guests to your platform. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're ready to get to that level, I got you for sure. I got you.
Yeah, let's link in, man. We'll do it at least. You know what I'm saying? At least once a week. I already named the session. What I call it? I called it Chop It Up Tuesday.
Chop It Up Tuesday. Word.
I already called it Chop It Up Tuesday, man. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, we're gonna chop it up, we're gonna vibe. I'm gonna call it Chop It Up, man.
Word.
So yeah.
Got you. Hey, well, I'm 10 toes down to come chop it up on Tuesday. You hear?
Yes, sir, man. So yeah, let's do it again next. This is Tuesday. Next Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. again.
7:00. Got you. Okay. We locked in, brother.
You tell your loved ones peace and blessings, man. And I'm gonna tell my mom that to come on. I'm really pass that message to her.
For real, bro. I'm serious about that. I want to hear those stories. I want to hear those stories, bro.
I'm gonna eventually get my elders on too, man, and get their story.
You just took the words out my mouth, bro, because I heard you say that a lot of the elders in your family in their 90s or pushing their 90s or whatever, bro, they the type of people we need to be speaking to.
Yeah.
They the type of people we need on these podcasts, bro. They the elders. They the elders, bro. We need the elders' voices to be heard out here. You know, or we need the elders to pass something down to the young ones so we can go ahead and push it. However, like that's your family. So you need to be getting all that, bro. You need to be getting all that. So you
on
can pass
record, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody can live forever, man. They story got to get put on record, man.
For sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Word. So we're gonna speak on the back end, bro. See how we can line something up, man. But I appreciate you, bro, for having me on your platform. Much love to you, your family. Continue to have a blessed day on purpose. You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Big key, never the little one. You heard me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a good evening, man. We'll be back and forth.
You know it. You know it. Okay. Love is love, bro.
Yes, sir.